The world watched in stunned silence as Keanu Reeves calmly faced Elon Musk, a battle not just of ideas, but of humanity's future. One man defends the soul of creativity, the other champions cold, unyielding technology. What happened next changed everything. Who truly controls our destiny? Watch to find out. Before we continue this incredible story, let us know where you're watching from. If you enjoy stories like this, subscribe to the channel, because tomorrow we have another inspiring story you won't want to miss. The grand auditorium was buzzing with anticipation. Thousands of people had filled every seat, their murmurs and whispered excitement rising like a wave. This wasn't just another event. It was the moment the world had been waiting for. A rare, live debate between two titans from vastly different worlds. On one side was Keanu Reeves, Grace's almost human approach to art and life. On the other sat Elon Musk, the tech visionary, a man who had shaped the future with bold ideas and relentless drive. As the lights dimmed and the stage was bathed in a soft, dramatic glow, the doors opened and Keanu stepped in. The crowd erupted into applause and cheers. Yet, Keanu's reaction was nothing like a star chasing fame. He offered only a small nod, a slight, humble smile, and a quiet confidence that seemed to fill the room with calm rather than frenzy. There was no need for showmanship. His presence alone held the attention of everyone watching. Across from him, in a high-backed chair under the blinding stage lights, Elon Musk waited. His gaze was sharp, almost predatory. He exuded the kind of self-assuredness born from years of shattering limits and rewriting the rules of technology and industry. Musk's reputation preceded him, a man unafraid to challenge norms, sometimes brash, always bold. Tonight was no different. He was here not just to debate, but to dominate the conversation. The live cameras began rolling, capturing every second. Millions worldwide tuned in, eager to witness the confrontation. This wasn't merely a discussion, it was a battle of ideologies. Two visions of the future facing off. On one hand, a champion of human creativity and the soul of art. On the other, a master of technology and relentless innovation, pushing toward a future increasingly defined by artificial intelligence and automation. The atmosphere was electric. The audience sat poised in a tense silence, their breaths held in anticipation. Every eye fixed on the stage, every ear eager for the first words. What would happen when Hollywood's soft-spoken icon met the unabashed titan of technology? How would Keanu respond to Elon's bold claims? Would the evening be a polite exchange, or a clash that shook the very foundations of how humanity sees its future? Keanu took his seat with practiced ease. His movements were unhurried, deliberate, as if aware that presence and calm were more powerful than haste or grand gestures. He glanced briefly at the audience, then toward Elon Musk, who sat with a calculating gaze, ready to launch his opening salvo. The moderator's voice cut through the silence, briefly introducing the debate's theme: the future of creativity in an age dominated by artificial intelligence. The question was simple but profound. Could human artistry survive the rise of machines designed to learn, adapt, and create faster and more perfectly than any human ever could? Elon smiled, that familiar smirk that had unsettled many before. Leaning forward, fingers lightly tapping on the armrest, he spoke first. His voice carried an unmistakable condescension, laced with confidence. He admitted surprise that Keanu had accepted the invitation, suggesting that Hollywood was destined to become obsolete, a relic of nostalgia overshadowed by AI's unrelenting march forward. The crowd reacted. Some chuckled knowingly, others exchanged uneasy glances. Elon's tone was sharp, a deliberate bait meant to provoke a reaction. He outlined his vision of the future: AI writing scripts, de-aging actors digitally, composing flawless music, and creating perfect cinematic experiences that never tire or falter. Human actors, he asserted, would soon be replaced by optimized digital versions. machines without egos or flaws. Keanu remained unshaken. With a calm, almost serene expression, he adjusted his blazer and met Elon's challenge with quiet dignity. His voice, smooth and deliberate, cut through the room. He reminded everyone that nostalgia was not just about clinging to the past, but about preserving what it means to be human, the emotions, imperfections, and presence that no AI could replicate. The audience responded with a soft murmur, sensing the first real pushback against Elon's tech-dominated future. Musk's smirk faltered briefly before he waved a dismissive hand, doubling down on his claim that AI would soon outperform humans in every aspect of entertainment and creativity. The atmosphere in the auditorium shifted subtly but unmistakably. The tension between the two men was more than just a clash of ideas. It felt like a quiet battle for the very soul of humanity itself. The camera zoomed in, capturing every flicker of emotion on their faces. Elon Musk's sharp, calculating eyes momentarily shadowed with doubt, and Keanu Reeves' steady, calm gaze, full of quiet strength and conviction. Keanu's voice cut through the silence with a surprising softness. "Have you ever watched a sunset?" The question hung in the air, simple yet profound, like a gentle challenge to the audience and his opponent alike. The crowd's murmurs faded, replaced by an attentive hush. Elon blinked, momentarily caught off guard by the unexpected metaphor. The audience could almost see the wheels turning in his mind, trying to grasp how this moment of natural beauty connected to the fast-paced world of artificial intelligence and technology. Keanu continued, his tone conversational but layered with meaning. "You can capture every detail, the colors, the light, even the warmth on your skin. You can recreate it perfectly on a screen or through AI simulation. But does that mean you've truly experienced it?" His question wasn't just rhetorical, it demanded reflection on the nature of experience itself. The room felt as if it collectively held its breath, waiting for Elon's response. Elon opened his mouth, the usual confident rebuttal poised on his lips, but then closed it again. For once, the tech mogul was silent, thrown off balance by a concept that no algorithm or data set could quantify. The silence stretched, growing heavier with meaning. Keanu leaned back slightly, letting the words settle in the room, allowing the audience to feel the weight of what he had just said. "There's something about presence," Keanu added, "about being there in the moment, that no machine can replicate. That's what makes art, stories, and humanity itself irreplaceable." His voice resonated with quiet power, speaking not just to the facts of technology, but to the emotions and connections that define human life. Applause erupted spontaneously, swelling into a thunderous wave that filled the auditorium and spilled over into millions of homes watching around the world. Elon's smirk had vanished, replaced by a guarded expression as the energy shifted away from his control. For the first time in this debate, he was no longer the one leading the narrative. The battle lines had been drawn in sharp relief. Elon Musk represented a future dominated by machines, efficiency, and data, a world where flawless digital creations might supplant human artists. Keanu Reeves stood for something more elusive, but no less vital, the imperfect, unpredictable heart of humanity. As the applause died down, the tension tightened once again. The debate was far from over, and the audience knew they were witnessing something historic. The cameras cut briefly to the audience. Some faces reflected admiration and awe for Keanu's words. Others held thoughtful skepticism, while a few seemed unsettled by the challenge to the relentless march of progress. The question hung between them all. Could the intangible spirit of human creativity survive in a world increasingly ruled by artificial intelligence? "Who say, sweetheart?" Keanu shifted his posture subtly, his calmness never wavering. He was not just a Hollywood star on stage. Tonight, he was a champion of human connection and authenticity. Across from him, Elon Musk adjusted in his seat, eyes narrowing slightly, a sign that the battle for hearts and minds was just beginning. The debate would push both men and their audiences to reconsider what it truly means to be human in a rapidly changing world. Elon Musk sat back in his chair, a smirk curling on his lips, full of confidence and a hint of condescension. The air in the auditorium thickened with anticipation. Everyone knew Elon wasn't just here to have a polite conversation. He was here to challenge, to unsettle, and to push a narrative about the future that left little room for nostalgia or sentimentality. As the cameras captured every flicker of his expression, Elon's gaze locked onto Keanu Reeves with a cool intensity. This was a rare moment. The tech mogul was about to question the very place of a Hollywood icon in a rapidly changing world. "I have to admit," Elon began, his voice smooth but edged with a sharp undertone, "I was a bit surprised that Keanu accepted this invitation." The audience leaned in, sensing that this wasn't just casual banter. Hollywood, frankly, is becoming nostalgia, a world that's fading as technology accelerates. AI is not just the future, it's the future of entertainment. And that future doesn't need people like you. The crowd murmured, some chuckling nervously, others shifting in their seats. Elon was playing his cards boldly. He painted a vision of the future where AI would write flawless scripts, compose music that stirred souls perfectly, and create digital actors with perfect timing, emotion, and presence, all without fatigue, error, or age. He continued, voice firm, eyes gleaming. Why hire actors who tire, age, or demand royalties when studios can create perfect digital versions that never falter? Imagine a Keanu Reeves who is always young, always flawless, and always available. No scandals, no breaks, no limits. The jab landed hard when Elon added, "Keanu, you're almost 60 now. Do you really think audiences will still want to see the real you when they can watch a digital version? One that's flawless and eternal?" The room gasped softly. Some audience members looked shocked. Others quietly accepted the reality Elon was laying out. This opening attack was classic Elon. Brash, unyielding, unapologetic. The tension on stage was electric. Elon's words challenged the very identity of Keanu Reeves, not just as an actor, but as a symbol of humanity's creative spirit. Elon Musk's smirk deepened as he leaned slightly forward, the confidence radiating from him palpable. His fingers drummed softly on the armrest, a rhythmic cadence that echoed his certainty. "You see," he began, voice steady and authoritative, "AI has evolved far beyond a mere assistant. It has become the cornerstone of a new era, a revolution that will reshape industries across the board, none more so than entertainment." The audience sat on edge, every ear tuned to the billionaire's words. Elon's gaze swept over the crowd before settling once again on Keanu, as if to underscore the gravity of his message. Soon, films won't just be faster and cheaper to produce. They will be crafted by algorithms designed to analyze, predict, and deliver exactly what audiences crave. Before the audience even knows what they want, he paused, allowing that vision to sink in. AI-generated content can be endlessly customized, tailored to individual preferences, demographics, emotional triggers, cultural trends. Studios will have the power to flood the market with flawless, instantly produced entertainment, content optimized for maximum engagement and profit margins. And in that world, he said, voice turning sharp, actors like you, Keanu, become obsolete relics, memories preserved only in nostalgia. Elon's eyes locked with Keanu's, piercing through the silence that had fallen. Why hire actors who tire, age, demand exorbitant fees, or have fragile egos, when you can have a digital version of yourself, eternally young, endlessly perfect, available on demand, immune to scandal and fatigue? It's a future not of dreams, but of algorithms and efficiency. The crowd's reaction was mixed. Some gasped softly, others murmured thoughtfully. The idea of replacing the messy human unpredictability of acting with flawless machines sparked both awe and unease. Could the spark of true creativity ever be replicated by circuits and code? Elon's tone grew more pointed. Keanu, you're approaching 60. Do you honestly believe that people will still want the real you when they can have a perfected digital version? One who can perform any role flawlessly day or night without a single mistake? A wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd. Some nodded slowly, resigned to this inevitable future. Others exchanged anxious glances. The implication was clear. The very identity and livelihood of actors hung in the balance. This opening salvo was classic Elon. Bold, unyielding, unapologetically disruptive. He had taken the microphone not just to argue, but to unsettle, to shake the foundations beneath Hollywood's glittering surface. The tension on stage was electric, and every eye was fixed on Keanu, awaiting his response. Elon Musk reclined comfortably, crossing his arms with the air of a man who believed he held the winning hand. His voice was calm, yet firm and unwavering, as he addressed the auditorium filled with thousands and millions watching worldwide. The reality we face is stark but simple, he began. AI-driven entertainment has already surpassed human limitations in speed, precision, and adaptability. It does not get tired. It never makes mistakes from fatigue or distraction. It doesn't age out of roles, nor does it demand royalties or negotiate contracts. It is perfect and always improving. A hush swept through the crowd. Elon's words painted a vision of endless creative output, of movies and shows generated instantly, tailored specifically to the tastes of every individual viewer. The promise was breathtaking in its scope. Content produced with surgical accuracy to evoke exact emotions, delivered without delay or human flaw. But beneath that promise, an unspoken fear lurked. What would remain of the human touch? What would become of the soul of storytelling when art was no longer created by flawed, passionate, unpredictable humans, but by flawless machines? Elon's eyes flickered with a fierce intensity as the cameras captured every subtle expression, every twitch of his jaw and every fleeting twitch of his fingers resting on the chair's arm. He was not merely debating a rival, he was making a case for the future itself. A future where technology would not just support, but replace. Across from him, Keanu Reeves sat composed and serene. His calmness was in stark contrast to Elon's brash energy. There was something undeniably human in the way Keanu carried himself, a quiet strength born of imperfection and experience. Elon's words, though powerful, had not broken that composure. The audience, sensing this clash of spirits as much as ideas, leaned forward collectively, hanging on the tension in the air. Was this truly the end of an era where human creativity and storytelling could thrive? Or was there a deeper truth waiting to be spoken? For a long moment, silence filled the space. Elon's confident proclamation had set the stage. The future seemed inevitable, the machine unbeatable. Yet in that silence, Keanu's presence seemed to hold a different kind of power. One that went beyond logic, beyond efficiency, beyond data. Millions watching across the globe waited with bated breath. Elon Musk's vision of an AI-driven future, cold and precise, faced off against Keanu Reeves. Not just a man, but a symbol of humanity's enduring, imperfect heart. This moment was about more than a debate on technology. It was about the very soul of art, the essence of connection, and the question of what truly makes us human in an age of advancing machines. And now, all eyes turned to Keanu, wondering, how would he respond to the stark, unyielding future Elon had just painted? What words could possibly answer a vision so complete, so calculated, so seemingly unstoppable? The answer would not just define the fate of two men, it would speak to the hopes and fears of an entire generation. Keanu Reeves sat back calmly, the sharp tension in the room settling slightly as he adjusted the lapel of his blazer with a measured, almost effortless motion. The audience's murmurs hushed in anticipation, sensing that the quiet Hollywood icon was about to respond to Elon Musk's aggressive onslaught. His gaze met Elon's steadily, unshaken, radiating a composed confidence that came not from confrontation, but from deep understanding. With a voice smooth and steady, Keanu began, "Elon, you speak of a future dominated by flawless AI creations, movies tailored to perfection, characters optimized for every possible scenario. But I wonder, can AI truly capture what it means to be human? Can it replicate the raw, imperfect beauty of a sunset, the fleeting warmth of a smile, or the crackle of emotion in a live performance?" His words hung in the air, deliberate and thoughtful. The crowd leaned in, the energy shifting. Keanu's calm contrast to Elon's sharp rhetoric brought a new layer to the debate, a subtle but powerful reminder that technology, no matter how advanced, might never replace certain human experiences. He continued, "Nostalgia isn't just about clinging to the past. It's about preserving what defines us as people. It's about remembering those moments that no algorithm can predict or recreate, moments that speak to the heart rather than the data. Art, stories, music, they are all imperfect expressions of human life. They are messy, spontaneous, flawed, and beautiful because of it." Keanu's gaze swept the auditorium, connecting with faces young and old, all captivated by his words. The audience felt the weight of his message, that there was something irreplaceable in the human touch, something beyond the reach of even the most sophisticated AI. Across the stage, Elon's expression flickered for a split second, a barely noticeable tightening of the jaw, the first crack in his carefully maintained composure. The smirk faltered, but he quickly recovered, keeping his posture upright and his voice firm. Yet the question lingered in the room, echoing louder than any bold claim. Can AI truly replace the soul, the presence, and the emotional resonance of genuine human artistry? The silence that followed was deafening, the audience collectively holding its breath. Keanu's voice softened, carrying a warmth that contrasted with Elon's earlier sharpness. "You can create the perfect image of a sunset, a flawless digital rendering with every color calibrated, every shade precise. But does that image ever touch the heart, the same way as standing outside, feeling the cool breeze, hearing the distant call of birds, watching the sky bleed into twilight?" He paused, letting the thought settle over the audience. The real experience is more than pixels and light. It's the unpredictable. The slight chill running down your spine as the sun disappears, the quiet moments shared with someone next to you, the memories that form in those fleeting instants. The auditorium fell almost silent, a hush that spoke volumes. People were no longer just spectators to a debate. They were participants in a meditation on what makes us human. Keanu's words bypassed technical arguments and landed squarely on something deeply emotional and intimate. He continued, voice steady but filled with feeling. "There is a sacredness in presence, being truly there in that moment, unfiltered and imperfect. No AI, no matter how advanced, can replicate that. It can simulate, it can mimic, but it cannot be." Keanu's gaze swept across the audience, inviting connection. The thrill of live theater, the electricity in the air during a concert, the unspoken bond between storyteller and listener. These are not glitches or errors. They are the essence of why we create and why we connect. A ripple of nods and quiet affirmations passed through the crowd. The energy shifted, growing more contemplative. Elon's expression flickered briefly, an almost imperceptible crack in his usually unflappable demeanor. His eyes narrowed, eyebrows knitting together, as if trying to digest this unexpected line of reasoning. Keanu didn't rush, allowing the pause to deepen. Technology has changed the world in remarkable ways. It empowers us, connects us, opens doors we never imagined. But it also has limits. Limits rooted not in capability, but in something more profound: the human spirit. A few breaths echoed around the room, the audience absorbing the subtle distinction. Creativity is not just about flawless execution or efficiency, Keanu went on. It's about vulnerability, imperfection, and the courage to reveal something true about ourselves. The applause started quietly, swelling as more felt the truth of his words. Keanu had transformed the debate from a clash of innovation versus tradition into a compelling reflection on identity, emotion, and connection. Elon's usually confident smirk faded, replaced by a flash of something more guarded, perhaps a hint of respect or uncertainty. This wasn't just a debate anymore. It was a challenge to his worldview, an invitation to confront the intangible qualities that data and algorithms struggle to quantify. Keanu's voice grew softer, almost conversational. Imagine a world where every story is perfectly calculated, every performance flawless, every emotion predicted and replicated. Would those stories still move you? Would they make you laugh with joy, cry with sorrow, or feel inspired to be better? Or would they leave you feeling hollow, disconnected from the unpredictable beauty of real life? The audience sat spellbound, the weight of his words settling over the space like a gentle wave. This was no longer about technology's capabilities, but about the heart's longing for authenticity and meaning. He locked eyes with Elon again, steady and calm. That is why nostalgia matters. It isn't about resisting progress. It's about remembering what makes us who we are, beyond data points and perfect simulations. Nostalgia is a testament to our shared human experience, to our flaws and failures, our triumphs and tears. The applause grew louder, rolling like thunder through the auditorium. The energy was palpable, a collective surge of recognition and hope that something vital was being defended in a world rushing toward automation. For the first time, Elon's posture stiffened. His eyes betrayed a flicker of doubt, a subtle but unmistakable sign that the narrative he had constructed was facing a profound challenge. The man who had commanded rooms with his intellect and confidence was now confronted with a deeper, more resonant force. Keanu's presence filled the stage with quiet authority. This was not just a man holding firm. It was a symbol of humanity's enduring spark. The crowd, millions watching worldwide, felt it too. An unspoken agreement that the debate was no longer about who was right or wrong, but about what should be preserved. The question now was clear. In a future shaped by flawless machines and algorithms, what place remained for the imperfect, unpredictable beauty of human connection? The moment was electric. The stage was set for the next phase of the debate, a moment that would define not only the future of entertainment, but the very essence of what it means to be human. Elon Musk's confident smirk returned swiftly, the flicker of doubt vanishing as he gathered his thoughts and launched back into the debate with renewed vigor. His voice was sharp and clear, cutting through the charged atmosphere like a finely honed blade. "Let's not get sentimental about imperfection," Elon said, his tone carrying a mix of challenge and certainty. AI doesn't just match human creativity, it surpasses it in speed, precision, and adaptability. He leaned forward, eyes locked on Keanu, as if daring him to contest the future unfolding before them. Machines don't tire, don't get distracted by ego or emotions, and they don't age out of their roles. They don't require breaks or suffer from inconsistent performances. AI can process millions of data points instantly to create perfectly optimized entertainment tailored to every single viewer. Elon's words painted a compelling picture of a future where AI is the ultimate creator, where content is crafted with scientific exactness, ensuring maximum engagement and emotional impact every time. He gestured expansively toward the massive screens behind them, where simulations of AI-generated characters and scenes flickered briefly to life. In this new era, Elon continued, human actors become obsolete. Why pay millions to cast someone whose prime years are fleeting when you can generate digital actors who are flawless, ageless, and infinitely customizable? AI can write scripts, compose music, direct scenes, and even mimic the nuances of human expression better than any real person ever could. The audience was visibly stirred by the vision Elon painted, both fascinated and unsettled. The promise of endless, flawless entertainment was intoxicating, but came with an undercurrent of loss. The man who had championed progress and innovation was making it clear the golden age of human-driven Hollywood was ending. Then Elon's tone sharpened, his words turning into a pointed jab. Keanu, you're 59 now, no offense, but Hollywood's youth-driven industry isn't exactly waiting around for the next great role from you. AI doesn't age, and audiences won't care about nostalgia forever. The crowd gasped at the bluntness, some shifting uncomfortably in their seats. Elon's attack was strategic. Striking at Keanu's age and perceived declining relevance was a move to destabilize the quiet confidence he had projected. Keanu's steady gaze never wavered, but a flicker of tension rippled through the room. Elon had drawn first blood in this round, laying bare the brutal realities of fame and the relentless march of technology. Elon's smirk broadened as he seized the moment. "Look around you," he said, gesturing toward the audience and the sprawling digital screens overhead. AI is already transforming entertainment. Studios are investing millions into fully AI-driven films, with algorithms predicting exactly what audiences want before they even know it. Movies will be faster, cheaper, and scientifically perfected. His voice rose with excitement, painting a picture of an industry on the brink of total disruption. There will be no need to wait years for a film to shoot and edit, when AI can produce high-quality content in days, even hours. No need for stunt doubles, no costly sets or location shoots, just pure technological power. The audience absorbed the reality of Elon's vision. For some, it was awe-inspiring. For others, it was deeply unsettling. The promise of instant, endless content raised questions about the fate of human creativity, employment, and the emotional connection people shared with artists. Elon's eyes glinted with a mix of triumph and challenge. Why cling to the past when the future offers so much more? Why waste resources on flawed humans when perfection is within reach? Keanu remained silent for a moment, letting Elon's words hang in the air. The room was charged with anticipation, waiting to see if the beloved actor would crumble under the weight of relentless logic or respond with something more profound. Elon's voice dropped to a taunt. "So tell me, Keanu, what happens when AI can create a younger, more dynamic version of you? A digital actor who never ages, never tires, never misses a line. What will you do then?" The audience reacted instantly. Some murmured in agreement, others gasped at the sheer audacity of Elon's challenge. It was a brutal reminder that even the most iconic human figures are vulnerable to the unstoppable tide of technology. Elon's posture grew more assertive, arms crossed as if daring Keanu to admit defeat. He was confident this was the final blow in his opening salvo, a strategic strike aimed at undermining Keanu's credibility and relevance. Keanu met Elon's challenge with the same calmness he had shown throughout. His smile was subtle but knowing, as if he had been expecting this moment all along. "That's a fair point, Elon," he said, voice steady and deliberate. "AI can replicate me, generate a younger version, mimic my movements and voice perfectly. But I want to ask you something important." He paused, letting the silence build suspense. "If AI can replace actors so seamlessly, Then why do studios still cast real people? Why do audiences still flock to theaters to see live performances? Why do the best stories continue to be written by human hands? The crowd leaned in, sensing that Keanu's response was about to strike at the heart of Elon's argument. His tone grew stronger, more passionate. Perfection isn't what makes us connect. It's the flaws, the cracks, the raw, unpredictable humanity that moves us. The greatest performances in history aren't flawless. They're real. They carry the weight of experience, emotion, and imperfection. A wave of understanding rippled through the audience. People were no longer just listening. They were feeling. Keanu's words reframed the entire debate, reminding everyone that the value of art lies not in its technical perfection, but in its ability to touch the human soul. Elon's expression tightened, irritation flickering across his features. For the first time, he was on the defensive, pushed into a corner he hadn't anticipated. The billionaire's usual quick wit was replaced by a brief silence, the weight of Keanu's argument pressing on the room. Keanu's calm gaze never faltered. You say AI will make actors obsolete, but people don't watch movies just for precision. They watch because they want to feel something real. That's something no machine can give. The audience erupted into applause, the energy in the auditorium surging. The debate had shifted from cold logic to heartfelt truth. The question was no longer about which technology was superior, but about what humanity values most. Elon exhaled sharply, shifting uncomfortably in his seat. He knew the conversation had changed, that Keanu Reeves had not just responded, but redefined the terms of the debate. Keanu leaned forward slightly, his calm and collected demeanor drawing the audience in. His voice was steady, but carried a quiet intensity that commanded attention and respect. Elon, he began thoughtfully, you make a compelling argument for AI's technical superiority, its speed, precision, and flawless execution. But I want to ask you something fundamental, something that goes beyond algorithms and data. The crowd's murmurs quieted as they sensed the gravity of his question, eyes fixed on him expectantly, waiting for him to continue. If AI is truly superior, Keanu asked, then why do people still seek out live music? Why do they fill theaters to experience plays, concerts, and performances in person? If the future belongs to perfect digital entertainment, why does humanity cling so fiercely to imperfect human experiences? He paused for a moment, allowing the question to settle in the minds of those watching live and at home. The tension in the auditorium thickened as the audience grappled with this challenge. There is a sacred quality to live performance, Keanu explained, his voice warm and reflective. The crackle of a vinyl record, the subtle imperfections in a singer's voice, the tension and release in a theater filled with expectant faces, these are not flaws. They are the essence of connection. The unpredictable moments, the shared breath between performer and audience, they are alive. These moments can't be programmed or perfectly replicated. The audience began to nod, some with slow smiles, recognizing the truth of his words. Keanu's eloquence transcended the realm of technology and data, touching on something deeply human and timeless. AI can reproduce the sound of a guitar or the words of a script, he said softly, but it cannot reproduce the energy in a room, the electricity between people, or the spontaneous joy and tears that come with truly being present. His hands moved gently, emphasizing the intangible magic that connects us all. That is the power of imperfection. It's the messy, raw, beautiful unpredictability that moves us. Elon's confident posture wavered ever so slightly. For a moment, the billionaire seemed to reconsider, his eyes flickering as if processing this unfamiliar argument. He parted his lips to respond, but Keanu pressed on, his voice unwavering. Keanu's tone softened as he shared a personal insight, inviting the audience to see beyond the surface. Over the years, I've stood on stages and in front of cameras watching the interplay between performer and audience. It's not perfection that moves us. It's presence. It's connection. It's the imperfect, fragile moments that remind us we're alive. His voice carried a warmth that resonated deeply with those listening. There's a kind of magic in a live concert, isn't there? The way a singer's voice cracks ever so slightly, the way the crowd breathes as one, the collective heartbeat syncing with the music. Those little flaws, those unplanned moments, they are the soul of the experience. He glanced around the auditorium, making eye contact with audience members as if sharing a secret. We cherish those imperfect moments because they are real. They are human. AI can mimic sounds or faces, but it cannot mimic the unpredictable spark that lives between people. A ripple of acknowledgement swept through the crowd. Some faces glowed with quiet understanding. Others looked reflective, caught by the poignancy of his words. Keanu continued. I remember watching a friend perform in a small jazz club once. He missed a note, a wrong key on his saxophone, and the entire room paused. But that pause was electric. It was a reminder that this wasn't a flawless machine performing, but a human being, vulnerable and alive. The crowd didn't recoil. They leaned in, connected even more deeply. The silence deepened. Elon Musk shifted in his seat, his usual sharp confidence wavering, as if confronted with a truth that logic alone couldn't dismiss. Keanu's gaze returned to Elon, steady and calm. If AI can replicate everything, why do millions still flock to theaters to watch live plays? Why do people cry at movies with predictable endings, laugh at jokes that aren't perfectly timed, or feel goosebumps during a live symphony? He paused, letting the questions hang, drawing the audience into the moment. Because we don't watch for perfection, we watch for connection, for the raw, unpredictable humanity that no algorithm can replicate. The crowd absorbed the weight of his words. The emotional undercurrent was undeniable. This was no longer just a debate about technology. It was a meditation on the heart of human experience. Elon's fingers tapped nervously on the armrest, a sign that his usual control was slipping. His sharp mind was confronting a challenge unlike any he had faced before. A challenge grounded not in data or science, but in the essence of life itself. Keanu's voice grew stronger, embodying both conviction and compassion. We humans are complex and beautifully unpredictable. We laugh at jokes we don't expect. We cry at stories we already know. We fall in love unexpectedly. These are not glitches to be corrected by an algorithm. They are the very things that make life meaningful. He looked directly into Elon's eyes, the calmness of his gaze carrying a powerful message. AI may replicate logic and patterns, but it cannot feel. It cannot experience grief or hope. It cannot dream or fear the unknown. And those feelings, those imperfections, are what make art matter. The auditorium was silent, each person caught in the gravity of Keanu's truth. Some blinked back tears, others nodded slowly, moved by the profundity. Keanu extended his hands, emphasizing the invisible yet powerful force that binds us. Art, music, stories, they are not mere products. They are expressions of our shared humanity, stitched with the threads of our hopes, our fears, our memories. They carry the pulse of life. He scanned the audience, ensuring his message resonated far beyond the stage. No matter how perfect technology becomes, it can never replace the soul behind the creation. It can imitate form, but never the essence. The applause began as a murmur, building steadily into a wave that swept the room. It was an emotional release, a collective affirmation of the irreplaceable power of human creativity. Elon's confident mask slipped further. His jaw clenched. His usual assuredness was replaced by a quiet tension. This was no longer about debate points. It was about confronting an undeniable truth. Keanu's gaze returned to the audience, his voice steady and clear. This isn't a rejection of progress. It's a call to preserve what makes us unique. Technology is a tool, but it's the human heart that breathes life into art. The crowd absorbed the silence that followed, a silence rich with understanding and possibility. The conversation had evolved beyond machines and code. It was now a conversation about what it means to be human. For a moment, the entire auditorium seemed to hold its breath, caught between the allure of flawless technology and the messy, beautiful imperfection of humanity. Keanu's philosophical challenge had struck a chord deeper than any data point or technical claim. It had reminded everyone that while machines might imitate, they would never replace the unpredictable, emotional core of human existence. Elon Musk, the man famed for his intellect and vision, sat quietly, his mind wrestling with a truth no algorithm could solve, that the essence of humanity remains forever out of reach for even the most sophisticated AI. The atmosphere in the auditorium shifted noticeably as the debate moved beyond technical arguments into a deeper ideological confrontation. The crowd sensed the change immediately. What started as a clash about AI and Hollywood was evolving into a fundamental debate about the future of humanity itself. Elon Musk leaned forward, his eyes sharp, his voice filled with conviction. "Technology is the engine that drives progress," he said firmly. "Efficiency, optimization, and innovation. These are not just buzzwords. They are the forces that shape our future. AI will revolutionize industries, improve lives, and solve problems that humans alone cannot." He gestured toward the audience, emphasizing his point. The real question is not whether AI can replace human creativity, but how we harness it. If we embrace technology fully, we can unlock potential beyond imagination. His tone was confident, almost urgent, as if warning that resistance was futile. Humans are limited by biology and emotion. AI doesn't make mistakes. It doesn't suffer distractions. It will lead us to a more efficient, productive world. The crowd was silent for a moment, absorbing Elon's vision of a future shaped by relentless technological progress. A future where machines excelled and humans adapted or faded away. Keanu Reeves, however, remained poised and unshaken. His calm presence counterbalanced Elon's intensity. He took a measured breath before responding, his voice steady but imbued with passion. "Elon, I respect the power of technology. It has brought incredible advances and changed lives. But progress is not just about speed or perfection. It's about meaning, connection, and purpose. It's about the stories we tell and the emotions they evoke." He paused, letting the words resonate. "You speak of efficiency as if it is the ultimate goal, but efficiency without heart is emptiness. Technology should serve humanity, not replace it." The crowd stirred, some nodding in agreement. Keanu's words were not a rejection of progress, but a plea to preserve what makes us human amid change. He leaned slightly forward, making eye contact with Elon and the audience alike. There's a future where art and technology coexist, where AI enhances creativity but never defines it, where human imperfection, emotion, and spontaneity remain at the core. Elon's expression flickered, his usual assuredness challenged by the depth of Keanu's philosophy. Elon's gaze sharpened, his voice taking on a more assertive, almost relentless edge. "Keanu, I appreciate your sentiment, truly. But sentiment alone doesn't drive progress. It's efficiency, scalability, and innovation that move the world forward. AI doesn't just create content, it transforms entire industries overnight." He shifted slightly in his chair, hands clasped as he leaned forward, eyes locked onto Keanu with an intensity that filled the room. "Look around you. AI is already writing scripts, generating music, animating characters, and even editing films with precision no human could match. It's faster, cheaper, and it learns, evolving constantly to anticipate audience desires before they're even aware of them. Elon's voice grew passionate, almost evangelical. This isn't about replacing humanity. It's about transcending human limitations. We're on the brink of a new era where AI amplifies creativity by handling the mundane, allowing artists and creators to focus on innovation. The question is, do you want to be part of that future, or be left behind, clinging to nostalgia? His words resonated with many in the audience who admired his vision, sparking murmurs of agreement and nods. Elon's smirk returned briefly, a sign of regained confidence. Frankly, Keanu, you're a legend, but even legends face the reality of time. Hollywood isn't immune to evolution. You're 59 now. The era of flawless digital actors who never age, never tire, and never demand breaks is coming fast. Studios won't hesitate to embrace this efficiency. The crowd reacted, some gasps rippling through the room at the sharpness of Elon's jab. It was a low blow, targeting not just the future of cinema, but Keanu's personal relevance. The energy shifted, a mixture of surprise, discomfort, and tension spreading among the spectators. Elon's voice lowered, steady but cutting. The question is simple. Can you compete with an AI that can be reprogrammed overnight, optimized endlessly, and scaled globally at a fraction of the cost? The silence that followed was heavy, charged with the weight of an undeniable truth that many in the room dared not voice aloud. Elon's eyes flickered briefly to the large screen behind them, where images of AI-generated actors flickered, flawless, emotionless, and chillingly perfect. Hollywood is not immune to the march of technology, Elon continued, his tone matter-of-fact. And if you don't adapt, you risk becoming obsolete. Keanu sat quietly, absorbing Elon's words. The room held its breath, waiting for his response. Keanu leaned back slightly, the faintest smile touching his lips, not of amusement, but quiet assurance. His voice, when it came, was calm and deliberate, cutting through the tension like a cool breeze. Elon, efficiency alone is a hollow victory if it comes at the cost of our humanity, he said softly. You speak of flawless digital actors, but can perfection truly replace presence? Can a machine understand the vulnerability, the fear, the joy that infuses every performance? He looked around, making eye contact with members of the audience, inviting them into his thought. You mention your AI creations? Flawless, yes, but empty. They lack the breath of life, the subtle imperfections that make a story real and relatable. The crowd shifted, some leaning in, drawn by the sincerity and depth of Keanu's argument. He continued, his tone growing stronger yet still measured. Art is not just about visual or auditory perfection. It is a mirror to our souls. It's in the cracks, the hesitations, the unexpected moments where humanity shines through. Keanu's gaze returned to Elon, steady and unyielding. You say Hollywood is destined for obsolescence, but I ask, why do millions still flock to live theaters, to concerts, to films that move them deeply? Why do we cherish the imperfect, the unpredictable? He paused, letting the question resonate. Because what we crave is connection, real connection, something no algorithm can replicate. Real nature, huh? A hush fell over the room. The weight of his words settled like a gentle, yet unshakable truth. Elon's eyes narrowed, his expression flickering between irritation and contemplation. Keanu's voice softened as he spoke to the deeper human need that technology can never satisfy. Machines can simulate logic and patterns, but they cannot feel loss, hope, or love. They cannot create memories or carry the weight of experience. Those are the foundations of meaningful art. The audience responded with quiet applause, moved by the emotional clarity of Keanu's message. Some wiped away tears. Others nodded thoughtfully, caught in the profound reflection of what it means to be truly human. Keanu concluded with quiet conviction. AI can be a powerful tool, yes, but it should amplify the human spirit, not attempt to replace it. We must remember that technology serves us, not the other way around. The energy in the room shifted palpably. The battle of visions was no longer a simple debate. It was a crossroads, a choice about the kind of future humanity would embrace, one where efficiency and heart coexist, or one where one triumphs at the expense of the other. For a moment, both men sat in silence, the weight of their opposing futures hanging heavy in the air. Elon Musk, the visionary titan, faced a challenge unlike any he had anticipated, one that reached beyond algorithms and innovation, touching the very core of human existence. Elon Musk's eyes narrowed slightly as he leaned forward in his chair, the stage lights casting a sharp glow on his determined expression. The calm confidence he had displayed earlier shifted, revealing the calculated strategist ready to drive home a hard truth. The reality of the entertainment industry, Elon began, his voice steady yet commanding, is not built on nostalgia or sentiment. It's built on economics, efficiency, and profitability. No matter how much we might cherish the human touch in art, the market forces driving studios are far more pragmatic. He paused briefly, letting the weight of those words sink into the room, where thousands sat captivated and millions watched live worldwide. AI-generated content is not a distant fantasy. It's here. It's already revolutionizing production processes. It can generate scripts instantly, render lifelike digital actors that never tire or age, and compose music tailored perfectly to audience moods. His fingers tapped rhythmically on the armrest, emphasizing his point. This technology slashes costs dramatically. It eliminates the expenses of actor salaries, physical sets, reshoots, and endless takes. AI can produce vast amounts of content on demand, flooding streaming platforms faster than any human team ever could. The crowd murmured, a mix of awe and apprehension rippling through the audience. Elon's tone sharpened, cutting through the soft hum like a blade. Studios are businesses, not museums. They must prioritize what makes financial sense, and AI, with its unparalleled speed and scalability, is inevitably becoming the preferred tool. He turned his gaze toward Keanu, a half-smile curling at the corners of his mouth. Keanu, I respect your legacy, but your resistance? It's understandable. A nostalgic grasp at a time that's fading. Hollywood, like every industry, must evolve or perish. Elon's eyes locked on Keanu's for a moment, a silent challenge hanging in the air. You're 59 years old now. The idea of flawless, ageless digital actors isn't just possible, it's imminent. Studios will choose AI not because they dislike humans, but because it's simply more efficient. A hush spread through the auditorium as some gasped, taken aback by the bluntness of the comment. The energy shifted palpably, the stakes now deeply personal. Elon's voice dropped, quieter but no less impactful. The question isn't if AI will replace actors, but when. The economics don't lie. Elon Musk leaned forward again, his fingers clasped tightly together as he prepared to lay out the stark realities he believed could not be ignored. His earlier confident smile sharpened, revealing the full force of his argument. Keanu, you have crafted a career full of remarkable moments, a legacy built on passion and humanity. But passion alone isn't going to sustain an entire industry anymore. It's admirable, but it doesn't pay the bills. He gestured toward the massive LED screen behind them. The screen flickered to life, showcasing a seamless AI-generated action sequence from a recent film. The digital Keanu Reeves on screen moved with perfect precision. Every motion, every subtle glance, every inflection flawlessly reproduced by technology. The crowd gasped as they watched the uncanny digital double perform stunts with impossible agility and deliver lines with perfect timing. This, Elon said, voice ringing through the auditorium, is the future of entertainment. AI-driven content production is already reducing costs exponentially. It's faster, scalable, and doesn't come with the demands and limitations of human actors. No sick days, no egos, no aging. His tone grew insistent, pushing the point with the intensity of a man who believed his message was a revelation. Billions are being poured into AI-driven studios. This is not some distant dream. It's already here, and it's reshaping every aspect of the industry. You say humans bring emotion and soul, but can the industry afford to ignore the efficiencies that AI delivers? The audience was tense, some eyes wide with wonder, others narrowed in doubt. Elon continued, his gaze sharp and direct. Keanu, you represent a world that's slipping away. The industry has to adapt to survive. It doesn't have the luxury of sentimentality or nostalgia when technology can provide endless content at a fraction of the cost. He leaned back, folding his arms with a self-assured nod, confident in the finality of his argument. Your generation paved the way, but the new age belongs to the machines. And the studios will follow the path of least resistance, choosing profit, speed, and scale over tradition. His eyes met Keanu's again, and there was a flicker of challenge there. You're a legend, but legends fade. The digital age doesn't have room for the outdated. Why invest millions in a human actor when you can get a flawless digital version, unbounded by age or physical limits? The room was charged with a mixture of awe and anxiety. Elon's argument wasn't just a theory. It was a call to accept a future where the old ways are supplanted by cold, efficient perfection. The idea that the warmth of human imperfection might be discarded unsettled many. Keanu Reeves listened carefully, his expression calm but resolute. Elon's words were heavy with the weight of the inevitable, a vision many feared but few could challenge. Yet Keanu's response was deliberate and filled with the quiet power of conviction. Elon, Keanu began, his voice steady. I don't dispute that AI technology brings incredible advancements and possibilities. No one can deny its impact on the industry and the world. He paused, letting the room settle on his calm assurance. But while AI can replicate patterns and optimize production, it cannot replicate what truly connects us as humans. It cannot recreate the unpredictable, imperfect beauty that defines human experience. The audience shifted, leaning forward, sensing a shift in tone from hard pragmatism to heartfelt philosophy. Why, Keanu continued, do millions still flock to live concerts? Why do theaters remain vibrant with energy? Why do people still cherish a moment shared with a human performer? Laughter, tears, spontaneous joy, experiences AI can only mimic, never feel. He held Elon's gaze firmly, his voice gaining strength but remaining warm. Because creativity is more than data or flawless execution. It's about memory, emotion, vulnerability, things that live deep within us and give art its soul. Keanu's words echoed across the auditorium, stirring a wave of nods and murmurs. The future of entertainment need not be a choice between humans and machines. It can be a partnership, where technology is a tool to amplify human creativity, not replace it. He softened, inviting the audience into his vision. AI can empower artists by handling repetitive tasks and enhancing their reach, but the heart of storytelling, the unpredictable, deeply human moments, must remain in human hands. The room was hushed, hanging on every word. Elon's confident smirk flickered briefly, a subtle sign that Keanu's perspective was piercing through the technological bravado. Keanu's eyes scanned the audience, his voice imbued with hope and challenge. We have a choice: to let technology dictate our future, or to use it to elevate what makes us uniquely human. The weight of that choice was palpable. The debate was no longer a battle of tech versus tradition. It was a profound conversation about identity, purpose, and what kind of future humanity wanted to build. For a long moment, neither man spoke. The silence was filled with the collective breath of the crowd, witnessing not just a clash of two men, but a dialogue between two worldviews. Elon Musk, the relentless visionary, confronted by Keanu Reeves, the steady guardian of humanity's creative spirit. The atmosphere crackled with tension, anticipation, and respect. An unforgettable moment unfolding live before millions. Keanu Reeves shifted his posture slightly, then turned his steady gaze outward toward the crowd and the millions watching from home. His voice, calm yet resonant, cut through the charged silence. "I want to ask each and every one of you a question." The audience leaned forward, anticipation rising in the room. Cameras captured faces eager for the answer, the defining moment in this fierce debate. Would you rather watch flawless, perfectly calculated, AI-generated content, every moment scripted, every movement precise, every emotion optimized, or would you choose stories that are imperfect, raw, and deeply human? Keanu's voice softened, inviting reflection. Stories that sometimes falter, stumble, or surprise, but always reach your heart. He paused, allowing the gravity of the choice to settle. The contrast was striking, the cold efficiency of AI versus the warm unpredictability of humanity. The question challenged not only the future of entertainment, but the very essence of human connection. Phones in the auditorium lit up. Viewers worldwide flooded the live chat with their reactions. Comments streamed in, a vibrant tapestry of perspectives, some praising the potential of AI for innovation and accessibility, others championing the irreplaceable power of human creativity. Keanu smiled faintly, sensing the tide turning. This was more than a question, it was a rallying cry. It was a reminder that no matter how advanced technology becomes, the beating heart of storytelling remains human. The energy in the room shifted palpably. Audience members who moments ago had been skeptical now nodded in agreement, whispering among themselves. The crowd's pulse quickened, alive with renewed hope for art that embraces the imperfections that make it real. Keanu's tone deepened with conviction. Because art isn't about flawless execution or polished perfection. It's about moments, the unexpected laugh, the tear that catches you off guard, the faltering voice that reveals vulnerability. Those moments connect us because they are true, because they are human. The applause filled the auditorium, reverberating off the walls like waves crashing on a shore. Keanu allowed himself a brief moment to absorb the energy before lowering his voice, drawing the crowd into a closer, more intimate space with his words. His tone was softer now, filled with quiet conviction that demanded attention. "We must be wary of the allure of perfection," Keanu said, his eyes searching the faces before him. "Perfection is seductive. It promises ease, control, predictability. But art, true art, isn't about control. It's about vulnerability, about embracing the unknown, about touching the raw edges of what it means to be human." He paused, letting the silence stretch just long enough for his point to land deeply. Perfection may dazzle the eye and satisfy the algorithm, but it cannot reach the heart. It cannot move us to tears, nor inspire us to hope. The beauty of storytelling lies not in flawless execution, but in the imperfect moments, the stumble in a line, the hesitation in a glance, the emotion barely contained. Keanu's gaze shifted toward Elon Musk, steady and unwavering, as if daring the billionaire to meet the truth in his words. AI can mimic patterns, simulate emotion, and optimize outcomes, but it cannot know the taste of heartbreak or the thrill of discovery. It cannot understand the subtle dance between joy and sorrow that shapes our humanity. The audience sat in rapt silence, hanging on every word. Even Elon Musk's confident posture seemed to falter beneath the weight of this deeply human perspective. The debate had transcended its technological roots and evolved into a profound meditation on what it truly means to be alive. Keanu turned back to the audience, his voice gentle but insistent, inviting them into a shared vision. So, I ask you again, what future do you want to create? A world where stories are engineered, predictable, and sanitized? Or a world where stories breathe with life, falter in their imperfections, and grow alongside us? The live chat exploded with messages echoing the sentiment. Humanity first, feeling over perfection. Keanu's voice is the truth. The momentum was undeniable, a collective call to honor the imperfect beauty of the human spirit in the face of relentless technological advance. Keanu's presence transcended that of a mere actor or celebrity. He became a lighthouse for those who believe in the irreplaceable magic of human creativity, a voice that reminded the world that no matter how advanced technology becomes, the heart of storytelling will always beat in human hands. And in that moment, the world was listening. Benigno, go into sleep. See. Elon Musk shifted in his chair, the usual assuredness in his posture now tinged with unease. His smirk, once confident and poised, began to fade as Keanu's words filled the auditorium with an undeniable truth, one that stirred something deeper than mere logic or statistics. The weight of the moment was palpable. The audience, thousands in the auditorium and millions watching from screens worldwide, collectively held their breath. Elon opened his mouth to speak, but the words hesitated in his throat. The brilliant strategist was momentarily silenced, not by a clever rebuttal or data, but by the raw power of human connection. The very thing his AI arguments struggled to replicate. He was no longer just facing an opponent in debate, he was confronting the intangible essence of humanity itself. Keanu leaned forward, his voice steady yet filled with heartfelt conviction. This isn't about rejecting innovation or progress, he said, carefully choosing each word to resonate deeply with everyone listening. AI is a tool, an incredibly powerful one, but it must never become the master. It must remain our servant, our partner, our means to expand what it means to create, to feel, to imagine. He paused, letting the gravity of his vision settle over the room like a warm embrace. Technology should lift us higher, not strip away the very things that make us human. The laughter, the tears, the messy, unpredictable moments that no algorithm can foresee or simulate. The crowd leaned in as he continued, the energy rising with each word. Imagine a future where AI assists the artist, the musician, the writer, providing new tools to express ourselves, to explore uncharted creative depths. A future where machines enhance the human spirit instead of attempting to replace it. Phones were raised everywhere, capturing this moment of profound clarity. The live chat exploded with cheers, affirmations, and countless hearts and applause emojis. Keanu's message was not just heard, it was felt, deeply, stirring hope for a future where technology and humanity coexist in harmony. The auditorium was alive with a new kind of energy, one that transcended mere entertainment or intellectual sparring. It was a collective declaration, a call to arms for those who believe in the imperfect, beautiful, and unreplicable magic of the human story. As the applause swelled, Elon Musk's face was a study in conflict. The usual cocky confidence was replaced by a flicker of uncertainty, the subtle tension of a man who realized that, for once, the narrative had shifted away from his control. Keanu allowed the silence to stretch, knowing the impact of what he had said. Then, with a quiet smile, he posed the ultimate question to the crowd. Will we choose a future where stories are flawless but empty, or one where stories are messy, flawed, and profoundly real? The audience was spellbound, caught in the tension of that moment. Their eyes reflected the flickering lights of the stage, their hearts pounding with the weight of the choice laid bare before them. Elon Musk opened his mouth once more, searching for a response that could reclaim the narrative, but Keanu's words had already pierced the armor. The debate was no longer about AI's capabilities or its efficiencies. It was about the soul of creativity, the essence of humanity, and the future that everyone, together, would decide to build. As the cameras continued to roll, capturing every nuance of this historic moment, it was clear that the conversation had transformed forever. No longer a contest between two men, it had become a profound exploration of what it means to be human in an age of machines. The roar of applause began anew, louder and more passionate than before. Phones lit up, fingers flew across keyboards, and the live chat swelled with voices united in celebration of the message. Human creativity, with all its glorious imperfections, would endure. Keanu sat back calmly, his smile steady and assured. This was more than a victory in debate. It was a victory for the human spirit. An undeniable reminder that no matter how advanced technology becomes, it will never replace the unpredictable, beautiful complexity of being alive. The atmosphere in the auditorium shifted palpably as Elon Musk leaned forward, a calculating glint in his eyes, signaling a change in tactics. For the first time that evening, the billionaire wasn't just debating words, he was about to deliver a spectacle. A wave of anticipation swept through the crowd, and millions of viewers at home. Cameras zoomed in, capturing the tension that had quietly built beneath the surface. Suddenly, with a casual flick of his hand, Elon gestured toward the massive LED screen behind them. The screen flickered and then illuminated with startling clarity. There, standing larger than life, was an uncanny digital figure. A flawless, hyper-realistic AI-generated Keanu Reeves. The digital version mirrored Keanu's every move with precision, blinking, smiling, and even shifting his weight with an eerie smoothness. The audience gasped collectively, the sound echoing like a shock wave through the vast auditorium. It was as if a ghost had materialized on the screen, indistinguishable from the real man sitting quietly in the chair across from Elon. Every subtle expression, every nuanced gesture was perfectly replicated. The AI Keanu was dazzling in its perfection, yet somehow unnerving in its lifeless precision. Elon's voice cut through the silence, triumphant and edged with certainty. This, he declared, is the future of entertainment, a flawless digital actor that never ages, never tires, and can perform any role flawlessly, anytime, anywhere. He turned his gaze toward the real Keanu, then swept it across the audience. Why would studios pay millions to cast a human actor when this perfect version can do it all? No salaries, no demands, no ego, just pure, optimized performance. The murmurs in the crowd grew louder. Some viewers expressed amazement at the technology. Others exchanged uneasy glances, sensing the deeper implications. Was this the beginning of the end for human actors? Was the future truly this digital and cold? Keanu sat still, eyes steady, not flinching or reacting visibly to the digital clone behind him. His calm presence contrasted sharply with the showmanship on display, sending a subtle but powerful message that there was more to this debate than just flawless replication. As the hyper-realistic AI generator Keanu Reeves continued its flawless performance on the giant screen, the audience watched in stunned silence. Every movement was seamless, every expression meticulously crafted. The digital Keanu moved with such fluidity and precision that it was almost impossible to distinguish him from the real actor seated just feet away. The lighting, the subtle shifts in facial muscles, the cadence of his voice. It was all a perfect simulation. It was an impressive display of technology that left many awestruck. Yet beneath the surface lingered a growing sense of unease. Elon Musk's voice broke the silence, thick with confidence and a hint of triumph. "This is the inevitable future of entertainment," he proclaimed, his gaze locked onto both the real and digital Keanu. A future where flawless digital actors perform any role perfectly, anytime and anywhere, where studios don't have to deal with the unpredictability, demands, or limitations of human actors. No sick days, no ego clashes, no aging, just consistent, optimized, and profitable performances. He paused, letting the weight of his words settle over the audience. The room was filled with a mixture of excitement and apprehension. The spectacle was dazzling, yet for some, it stirred fears of a world where human artistry might become obsolete. Turning to the real Keanu Reeves, Elon pressed further. Why would anyone pay millions to cast a human actor when they can have this perfect digital version? This AI can work around the clock, create scenes in a fraction of the time, and predict exactly what audiences want before they even know it. The days of relying on human actors are numbered. The murmurs in the crowd grew louder, a mix of fascination and discomfort rippling through the audience. Some viewers marveled at the technological breakthrough, while others exchanged uneasy glances, realizing the profound implications for the future of creativity and employment. Throughout it all, Keanu sat motionless, his calm demeanor unshaken. His composed presence contrasted sharply with the high-energy display of digital mastery, silently signaling that he was neither intimidated nor surprised. It was a subtle but powerful gesture, one that seemed to communicate, "This is only part of the story." Keanu Reeves finally shifted in his chair, breaking the silence with a gentle but firm smile. His voice was steady and deliberate, resonating with the quiet strength that had endeared him to millions over the years. "Elon, that's a remarkable display of technology. Truly impressive," he began, his eyes fixed on the digital double shimmering on the screen behind Elon. "But here's the truth," Keanu continued, his tone thoughtful. "That figure you created on the screen, that flawless digital version of me, it isn't me. It's a copy, an imitation. It can replicate my appearance, my voice, and even mimic my gestures perfectly, but it cannot replicate the essence of who I am." He paused, allowing his words to sink deeply into the minds of the audience. The tension in the room was palpable as everyone waited for him to elaborate. "You see," Keanu said softly, "there's more to being human than just visuals and sounds. There's a soul, a history, a collection of memories and experiences that shape every performance, every expression. That AI doesn't carry the weight of my joys or my sorrows. It has never felt the adrenaline before stepping on stage or the vulnerability that comes with sharing a piece of your soul." He leaned forward slightly, his voice lowering, as if sharing a secret. "It doesn't know what it means to laugh with a crowd, to be moved by a story told in a way only humans can. It can never feel the quiet moments of reflection between scenes, or the unpredictable magic that happens when two actors connect in real time." The audience was rapt. Some eyes glistened with tears, others nodded in heartfelt agreement. The AI Keanu on the screen was perfect in every technical sense, yet somehow empty, lacking the humanity that brought true meaning to art. Keanu's gaze then swept across the room, voice rich with conviction. "People don't connect to perfection. They connect to imperfection, to raw, authentic emotion. They connect to each other." A wave of applause swelled, spreading through the auditorium like wildfire. Phones lit up as viewers flooded the live chat with comments affirming his words. The crowd was energized, united by the reminder that in a world racing toward artificial perfection, human creativity and connection remained irreplaceable. For the first time that evening, Elon Musk's face betrayed a flicker of doubt. The mask of smug confidence faltered as he registered the deep resonance Keanu's words had with the audience. The technological marvel he had displayed was breathtaking, but it was no match for the raw power of genuine humanity. The debate had shifted. The digital double on the screen was impressive, but it was the man in the chair, the real Keanu Reeves, who had won the room's heart. His calm confidence, his thoughtful responses, and his unwavering belief in the human spirit had reminded everyone why humans remain essential in the story of art and creation. Keanu Reeves sat still, a quiet calm enveloping him as the giant screen displayed the hyper-realistic AI-generated digital version of himself. The audience's murmurs filled the auditorium as eyes flicked between the flawlessly rendered digital Keanu and the real man sitting calmly just feet away. The tension was thick, palpable, a duel of man versus machine, heart versus code. Keanu's expression shifted slowly into a genuine smile, not a rehearsed Hollywood grin, but one that carried warmth and quiet confidence. He leaned slightly forward in his chair, his hands resting naturally on the armrests, grounding himself amid the spectacle. His voice rose gently, cutting through the charged silence. "That image on the screen," he said, nodding toward the digital replica, "is indeed impressive, technically flawless in every detail, but it lacks something crucial: soul." The crowd's attention sharpened. Keanu's words weren't just a rebuttal, they were a challenge to what the audience thought they knew about art and technology. "Art isn't about perfection," he continued. "It's about something deeper: connection, emotion, humanity. That digital version can mimic my voice, replicate my movements with uncanny precision, but it can't feel the pulse of a live audience, the electricity of a shared moment." He paused, allowing his message to settle. "You see, true art is born from imperfection. It's messy, unpredictable, raw. It's about the stories we live, the pain and joy we feel, the vulnerability we show. That is what resonates. That is what moves us." The audience's response was immediate, soft murmurs swelling into a ripple of applause. The energy in the room shifted. Elon Musk's confident smirk began to fade, replaced by a flicker of uncertainty. Keanu's words had reminded everyone why human creativity mattered beyond the flawless facade. Keanu's gaze slowly swept across the faces in the auditorium, calm but commanding, radiating a quiet authority that drew the audience deeper into his words. "We don't watch movies simply to marvel at perfect images or seamless effects," he said with steady conviction. "We watch to experience something real. Hope that lifts us, heartbreak that breaks us open, laughter that warms our souls, and tears that cleanse us. We connect not to perfection, but to the raw, flawed beauty of human experience." His voice softened, carrying the weight of years of reflection as he turned his message toward Elon Musk. "AI can analyze data, replicate patterns, and simulate appearances with frightening accuracy, but it cannot replicate the nervous energy before stepping onto a stage for the first time. The blood, sweat, and tears poured into countless rehearsals, or the overwhelming joy when a story touches someone's heart. It can't carry the memories that shape us, or the imperfections that make a performance unforgettable." The audience was utterly silent, every person hanging on his words. The room seemed to hold its breath as Keanu continued. "This debate isn't just about technology or entertainment. It's a profound call to remember what makes us human: our vulnerabilities, our dreams, our connection to one another. It's a reminder that imperfections are not flaws to be erased, but the very heartbeat of art itself." He smiled, warmly, almost gratefully, as he added, "The real challenge ahead is not to reject technology, but to wield it as a tool that enhances creativity without sacrificing the soul of human expression. To ensure that, as we move toward a digital future, we don't lose the messy, unpredictable, and beautiful essence of storytelling." Applause began to rise, soft at first, then swelling into a powerful wave of approval. Elon Musk's confident demeanor wavered, his smirk replaced by a flicker of doubt. For the first time that evening, the billionaire was no longer the master of the conversation, but a man confronted by a truth too profound to ignore. Keanu's voice lowered gently as he addressed Elon once more. "You talk about AI as the future, Elon, but the future isn't only what machines can do. It's about what we, as humans, choose to cherish. Above all, we value connection, the unpredictable and imperfect beauty of being alive. The energy in the auditorium grew electric, a tide of emotion surging through the crowd. Cameras flashed, phones lit up, and the live chat exploded with reactions from millions watching around the world. The contrast between the cold, flawless digital projection on the screen and the warm, genuine human sitting before them could not have been starker. Keanu's eyes softened as he scanned the room, inviting the audience to reflect alongside him. "This is why I stand here today," he said with a firm but gentle tone. "Not to reject innovation or progress, but to remind us all that progress must honor what makes us human, that art is not about flawless replication. It's about the connection between souls, the shared stories that move us, teach us, and unite us." He paused, drawing a breath, heavy with meaning, as if carrying the hopes of every person listening. When you watch a film, listen to music, or experience a live performance, remember it's not just the technical perfection you cherish. It's the soul behind it. The vulnerability, the passion, the mistakes and triumphs that make it real and unforgettable. The applause erupted again, louder this time, rolling through the hall like a powerful wave of recognition. Elon Musk's usual smirk was gone, replaced by a thoughtful silence and a tightening in his jaw. Keanu leaned back, with the ease of a man who had said what needed to be said, his quiet strength filling the room. Finally, Keanu's voice cut through the clapping, calm and resolute. "The true power of art lies not in flawless mimicry, but in its ability to touch hearts and connect us beyond logic and algorithms. It transcends perfection and speaks to our shared humanity, and that no machine can replace." The crowd rose as one, offering a standing ovation filled with admiration and emotion. In that moment, Keanu Reeves hadn't just defended his craft, he had defended the very soul of what it means to be human in a rapidly digitalizing world. Elon took a slow breath, straightening in his chair as he prepared to shift the tone of the debate. His expression became more focused, less playful, signaling the seriousness of the argument he was about to make. "Look," he began, his voice measured and confident, "we can admire art and human creativity all we want, but we can't ignore the facts. AI is no longer a distant concept or a futuristic fantasy. It is dominating industries right now, industries that require precision, speed, and reliability." He paused to let his words settle, scanning the audience as cameras captured every flicker of emotion. "In the world of chess, AI programs have already surpassed the greatest human minds. In medicine, AI algorithms diagnose diseases faster and more accurately than the best doctors. This isn't just advancement, it's transformation." Elon leaned forward slightly, his eyes locking onto Keanu's. "Hollywood is not exempt from this reality. The industry is driven by technology and data, and AI is poised to revolutionize entertainment the way it has revolutionized other fields. It's not about nostalgia or sentimentality. It's about progress and inevitability. The studios will naturally choose what's faster, cheaper, and more profitable." Some in the audience nodded, their faces reflecting a mixture of respect for Elon's expertise and the unsettling implications of his words. Others shifted uncomfortably, sensing the threat beneath the surface of these cold facts. Elon's tone sharpened as he continued. "The market doesn't care about ideals or artistic dreams. It cares about numbers. If AI-generated movies make more money with less risk, the studios will invest there. The era of human actors dominating screens is facing an irreversible shift." Elon's posture stiffened as he delved deeper into the cold, pragmatic side of his argument. "We can admire art, creativity, and human expression. Those things are valuable, no question. But when it comes to the business of entertainment, the bottom line rules. AI operates with precision that no human can match. It works tirelessly, doesn't require breaks, health benefits, or contracts. It won't age or suffer from mood swings or ego clashes. It simply delivers." He paused briefly, letting that sink in, then continued with sharper emphasis. In Hollywood, money talks louder than sentiment. If a studio can produce a flawless AI-generated film for a fraction of the cost and time, why would they ever take a gamble on human unpredictability? This isn't about replacing people out of malice. It's about efficiency, profit, and adapting to a world that demands more content, faster, and cheaper. The audience absorbed his words with mixed reactions. Some visibly impressed by the logic, others uneasy at the thought of art reduced to cold calculations. Elon's voice took on a more forceful tone as he pressed his advantage. Look at other industries. In medicine, AI diagnoses diseases faster and more accurately than any human doctor. In finance, algorithms make trades in milliseconds, optimizing profits beyond human capacity. AI doesn't just compete with us. In many cases, it's already surpassed us. Hollywood won't be spared this transformation. It's not a question of if, but when. Elon's gaze shifted toward Keanu with a hint of condescension. And honestly, Keanu, this isn't personal, it's reality. You're a great actor, a legend even. But you're also part of an industry that's evolving beyond the need for people like you. At 59, the question is whether audiences will still want to see the real you, or if they'll prefer a younger, flawless digital version that never tires, never ages, and never makes a mistake. A hush fell over the auditorium, punctuated by a few gasps. Some audience members exchanged uneasy glances. It was a bold, calculated move, a direct challenge to Keanu's relevance in the face of unstoppable technology. Elon leaned back, folding his arms, his expression smug and confident. He clearly expected this jab to tilt the momentum in his favor, and the silence in the room told him he had made an impact. Keanu sat motionless for a moment, his expression calm but unreadable as Elon's words echoed through the auditorium. The tension between the two men was palpable, the stark contrast between Elon's data-driven certainty and Keanu's quiet resilience. Yet beneath the surface of Elon's argument lay a profound unease. His facts were undeniable, but the emotional core of storytelling and human connection resisted easy replacement by algorithms. Could cold, calculated perfection truly replace the raw, flawed, unpredictable nature of human creativity? Could a machine ever evoke genuine laughter, tears, or a sense of shared humanity? Elon's voice softened slightly as he summarized his position, aiming for clarity and finality. Progress doesn't wait for nostalgia or sentimentality. The industry will adapt, studios will follow the money, and human actors will become relics of the past. It's the natural order, evolution through innovation. His eyes scanned the crowd, noting the mix of acceptance and hesitation on their faces. Resistance is a luxury we cannot afford. The future belongs to those who embrace change and harness the power of AI to optimize every aspect of entertainment. For a brief moment, the room was silent, hanging on the precipice of change and uncertainty. Elon's final words resonated like a challenge thrown down, daring anyone to contest the inevitable. Yet across the stage, Keanu's steady presence remained unshaken. The stage was set for a response not just rooted in logic, but in something deeper, a defense of what it means to be human in an increasingly artificial world. The energy in the auditorium shifted palpably. Keanu Reeves leaned forward slightly, his calm demeanor infused with quiet conviction. Every eye was on him, not just the thousands in the room, but the millions watching live around the world. The weight of the moment was unmistakable. "You know, Elon," Keanu began slowly, his voice steady but warm, "I'm not here to stand against artificial intelligence. I'm not here to fight the future or hold back progress." His words floated across the room, measured and purposeful, as if carefully chosen to reshape the very foundation of the debate. "I've actually been quietly investing in AI technology for the past 5 years," he revealed, allowing the sentence to resonate. A ripple of surprise ran through the crowd. Elon's expression tightened for just a moment, a flicker of uncertainty flashing across his usual smug smirk. But not the kind of AI that replaces people or diminishes the soul of creativity, Keanu added, his gaze piercing. The kind of AI I support is designed to empower human creators, actors, writers, musicians, and artists to unlock new potentials, to amplify imagination, and to deepen emotional connection, not to supplant the essence of human expression. The room hushed. This was no ordinary debate anymore. Keanu's revelation wasn't just a statement, it was a seismic recalibration of the conversation. The audience leaned forward in their seats, hanging on every word. Technology is not the enemy, Keanu continued, voice steady and full of quiet passion. It's a tool, a brush in the hands of an artist. It can open doors to worlds we never dreamed of, but it's still the artist who decides the vision, the meaning, and the feeling behind the creation. Elon's eyes narrowed, his mind visibly recalibrating. For a man accustomed to controlling every conversation, Keanu had just turned the tide, demanding a rethink on what progress truly meant. Keanu's voice carried a quiet strength as he continued, weaving his message with thoughtful care. Over the years, my investments haven't been about competing against AI or fearing its rise, he explained. They've been about partnership, building AI tools designed not to replace the artist, but to serve as an extension of their imagination and spirit. He paused, scanning the audience's faces, noticing their rapt attention. The room no longer felt like a battlefield, but a shared space for ideas that transcended the usual clash of titans. Think of AI as a new kind of paintbrush, Keanu offered softly. One that can help artists reach colors and depths they never imagined before. But just as no brush creates the masterpiece without the artist's hand, no AI creates meaning without human soul. The audience murmured in agreement. People leaned forward, eyes wide, sensing something transformative. Keanu's words touched a chord that technical jargon and facts had not. He spoke of something intangible: hope, creativity, and the human spirit. For too long, he said, the narrative has been that technology will render us obsolete. But I believe it can free us from repetitive tasks, free us to explore new realms of creativity, to amplify the voices of those unheard, to connect humanity in deeper ways. Elon shifted uneasily in his chair. His carefully crafted image of control and inevitability was being challenged by an idea he hadn't anticipated. A vision where AI empowered people rather than replaced them. Keanu's tone softened, taking on a reflective quality. We stand at a crossroads. One path leads to a future dominated by cold efficiency, sterile perfection, and disconnection from our humanity. The other leads to a future where technology magnifies our empathy, our flaws, our stories, the very things that make us human. The crowd was silent now, the weight of the moment settling over everyone. Keanu had done more than reveal his investments. He had painted a picture of a future where technology was a tool for preservation, not erasure. By funding AI projects focused on creativity's preservation, he said quietly, I'm betting on a future where human emotion remains at the heart of every creation, because no algorithm can replicate the messiness, the beauty, the unpredictability of the human experience. The reaction was palpable. People nodded, some eyes glistened with quiet emotion. Keanu wasn't just making a statement, he was making a promise that technology could be humane. The auditorium seemed to hold its breath as Keanu's words lingered in the air. The silence was thick with possibility. Then, slowly, Keanu leaned back in his chair, his gaze settling on Elon with a calm intensity. I'm not naive, Keanu admitted. I know the risks. I know that technology can be misused, that progress can come at the cost of humanity. But that's why this fight matters. Not a fight against AI, but a fight for the soul of creativity. He looked out at the crowd, his voice growing stronger, more passionate. Imagine a world where AI helps us tell stories that heal old wounds, where it enables new voices to be heard in every corner of the globe, where technology doesn't strip us of our jobs, but gives us new ones that celebrate what makes us unique. Keanu's words weren't abstract ideals. They were a call to action, an invitation for the audience to envision a future they could shape. The cameras caught Elon's tightening expression. For the first time, the billionaire appeared unsure, as if the confident narrative he'd built was unraveling before a simpler, more human truth. 5 years ago, Keanu continued, I started supporting innovators who share this vision, engineers and artists working together to build AI that protects creativity. Tools that don't erase the artist's touch, but enhance it. Tools that respect the imperfect, the emotional, the human. The audience's applause began softly, swelling into a powerful wave. It was not just a response to the revelation, but a recognition of hope rekindled. Elon exhaled sharply, tapping his fingers on the armrest, clearly calculating his next move. But for a brief moment, his confidence seemed to waver. Keanu's smile was serene as he concluded, technology isn't the enemy, people are. People decide how it's used, and that's why we must be vigilant, because the future of creativity depends on who holds the reins. The room erupted again, the crowd energized by a vision that embraced both progress and humanity. In that moment, the balance of power had shifted. Keanu Reeves, the actor, once seen as a nostalgic figure, had emerged as a visionary leader in the conversation about AI and the future of art. The auditorium's charged atmosphere shifted palpably as Elon Musk's expression hardened. He leaned forward, fingers interlaced tightly on the table, eyes fixed on Keanu Reeves, with a sharper, colder intensity than before. The easy charisma that had carried him through most of the debate gave way to something more calculating, a pointed and personal attack. You speak of humanity, soul, and art as if those things are eternal and unchanging, Elon began, his voice steady but laced with a biting edge. But really, this is about fear. Fear of progress, fear of the inevitable, fear of watching everything you've built fade into irrelevance. He paused, letting the words settle like stones thrown into a still pond. Keanu, you're holding on to a past that's already slipping through your fingers, like a fading star clinging to the night sky before dawn, desperately grasping for a relevance that no longer exists. The room fell silent except for a few uneasy coughs. Elon's words hung heavy, cutting through the room like a sudden chill. Some faces in the audience registered shock, others a quiet sympathy, and a few showed discomfort, as if uncomfortable witnessing this public unraveling of one of Hollywood's most beloved icons. Keanu's calm was remarkable. He didn't blink or react immediately. His eyes remained steady, almost reflective, as if absorbing the weight of Elon's accusations without resistance. The silence between them thickened, every second stretching longer than the last. Elon's attack was no longer about AI or technology, it was personal. It was about Keanu's place in a rapidly changing world where the rules were being rewritten at an unrelenting pace. The billionaire was not just questioning Keanu's ideas. He was questioning his very legacy. For a moment, the audience wondered if the gentle, composed actor would falter under this unexpected pressure. But the moment passed. Instead of retreating, Keanu's expression softened, his lips curling into a slight, knowing smile. This was a man who had faced countless challenges in his life and career. The silent strength behind that smile told the crowd that Keanu was far from defeated. There was something deeper, a resilience forged through years of quiet determination and reflection. Keanu's gaze didn't waver as he leaned slightly forward, meeting Elon's cold stare with a quiet confidence that seemed to fill the entire room. The audience was holding its breath, sensing a pivotal moment unfolding. The gentle actor's voice, when it came, was calm but carried an unmistakable strength. Fear can be a powerful motivator, Keanu said slowly, but it's not the only one. You say I'm clinging to the past, but maybe I'm holding on to something far more important, the truth about what makes us human. He paused to let that sink in. You see, Elon, the world may be rushing headlong into the future. Technology evolves, machines grow smarter, and yes, AI can do remarkable things. But there's a difference between what is possible and what is meaningful. A soft murmur rippled through the crowd. Some nodded, others whispered among themselves. Keanu's words were cutting through the noise, reminding everyone that this wasn't just a technical debate. It was a battle for the soul of creativity. You accuse me of desperation, Keanu continued, voice steady and firm. But what about you? What are you afraid of? Because to me, this seems less about fear and more about control. Control over the narrative, the future, even over what we consider art? Elon's jaw tightened. For a brief moment, the smug confidence he had projected all evening flickered. But then he smiled, thin and calculated, as if trying to dismiss the question before it fully landed. Control is necessary, Elon replied, voice sharp. Progress requires control. Without it, we fall into chaos. The world moves forward with or without our permission. The question is not whether you can stop it, but whether you're willing to adapt. Keanu nodded slowly, acknowledging the point but ready to push back. Adaptation is vital, he agreed. But adaptation does not mean surrender. It means choosing how we evolve, deciding what parts of ourselves we keep and what parts we refuse to lose. The tension in the room grew thicker. Elon was no longer just debating an opponent. He was confronting a philosophy, a way of seeing the future through vastly different lenses. The audience was caught in the crossfire, torn between the allure of rapid progress and the longing for authentic human experience. Keanu's voice softened, carrying a hint of vulnerability. I'm not against technology, Elon. I embrace it. But I fight for something more than efficiency or perfection. I fight for the messy, unpredictable, beautiful chaos of being human. That is what art is. That is what stories are. The applause began quietly, then swelled, filling the auditorium with waves of affirmation. Elon's expression darkened. He had been outmaneuvered, not by technology, but by conviction and the undeniable power of genuine human connection. The applause from the audience was both thunderous and heartfelt. People were rising to their feet, some cheering, others wiping away tears. It was clear that Keanu's words had struck a chord far deeper than mere entertainment or technology. This was a call to remember what truly mattered. Elon sat back in his chair, his usual arrogance tempered by a flicker of frustration and uncertainty. He was no stranger to battles of intellect and influence, but this encounter was different. Keanu wasn't simply defending a career or an industry, he was defending the very essence of human creativity. For a moment, the room was silent except for the swelling cheers and the distant hum of cameras. Elon finally spoke, his voice measured but edged with a hint of desperation. You make a compelling argument, Keanu, really you do. But let's stop pretending that emotions can pay the bills. The crowd quieted, sensing the tension shift again. Elon leaned forward, clasping his hands together as if preparing to deliver a final blow. Let's talk numbers. How much have you invested in AI? How much have you built, really? Because all the passion in the world won't save you when the bottom line is faster, cheaper, better. Keanu smiled, unshaken, and responded calmly. Elon, some things can't be measured in billions or market shares. There are values that money can't buy, and art is one of them. He paused, eyes scanning the crowd before returning to Elon. You run companies that push the boundaries of AI, robotics, neuroscience, yet here we are, debating because something within us, something deeply human, refuses to be replaced or erased. A ripple of agreement passed through the audience. Elon's smirk faltered for a moment, caught off guard by Keanu's composed defiance. The billionaire's confidence had been a fortress, but cracks were appearing under the weight of Keanu's unyielding belief. "You're here debating me," Keanu said softly, "because even you know that not everything can be optimized or automated." Elon blinked, the pause heavy with implication. The crowd leaned forward collectively, waiting for his response. But instead, Elon shifted, clearing his throat and attempting to regain control. Yet the moment had passed. Keanu's quiet strength had moved the audience. The debate was no longer a contest of technology versus tradition. It had become a powerful statement about identity, creativity, and the future of humanity. As the cameras continued rolling, the weight of the evening settled in the air. Elon's calculated persona had met something more profound, the enduring human spirit embodied by Keanu Reeves. Keanu sat quietly for a moment, the weight of Elon Musk's personal attack still hanging in the air. But instead of responding with anger or defensiveness, he allowed a gentle, almost pitying smile to cross his face. It was a smile that spoke not of mockery, but of deep understanding, of a man who saw beneath the surface to the fears that drove his opponent. "Elon," Keanu began softly, his voice calm yet powerful. "There's something I think you're missing. The fear you carry, it's not about what lies ahead. It's about the present moment. The uncertainty of what is happening right now." The audience leaned in, sensing a shift in the tone of the debate. The sharp jabs and cutting remarks gave way to something more profound, something that felt like a revelation. "You speak often of progress, of inevitability, of how technology will shape the future of humanity," Keanu continued, his eyes locked on Elon's. "But I ask you this, who really shapes technology? Is it technology that controls us? Or is it us who control technology?" His question was met with silence. The weight of it settled over the room, quiet but immense. "We are the creators," Keanu said with quiet certainty. "We are the ones who decide how technology is used. It's not some unstoppable force with a mind of its own. It's a tool, a reflection of our choices and values." As his words echoed through the auditorium, the crowd grew visibly engaged, their attention sharpening. This was no longer a battle of ego or intellect. It was a call to think deeply about responsibility. Keanu's gaze widened, reaching beyond Elon, addressing everyone watching live around the world. "This future is not pre-written. It is something we all shape together, and that choice, how we shape it, is ours alone." A wave of murmurs and nods rippled through the audience. The air was thick with anticipation as Keanu continued, painting a vision that was equal parts caution and hope. Keanu's voice softened, drawing the room in closer. "Elon, you speak of technology making life easier, faster, more efficient, and in many ways that's true. But convenience without control is a dangerous path. When efficiency becomes the sole master, freedom becomes the victim." Elon shifted slightly, his fingers drumming on the armrest, an unspoken tension growing between the two men. The audience could feel it. The moment had become about more than just AI or entertainment. "We stand at a crossroads," Keanu said with a steady gaze. "One path leads to a future where humans become mere cogs in a machine, optimized, replaced, discarded. The other path leads to a future where technology serves us, where it empowers creativity, emotion, and human connection." He glanced directly at Elon, his tone unwavering yet compassionate. "It is not the machines that hold power. It is the people who decide how to wield them." The crowd's reaction was immediate, a swell of agreement and energy. Phones lit up as live comments poured in, expressing hope and support for Keanu's vision. This conversation, Keanu said, is about more than AI or movies or the arts. It's about who controls the future. It's about the kind of world we want to build together. He let those words hang, letting the audience absorb their full meaning. If we blindly hand over control to algorithms, to corporations, to those who see AI as a tool to replace humanity rather than to help it, then we lose not only jobs, but our very essence. The room fell almost silent, the weight of his words pressing down. But if we remember that technology is created by humans for humans, then we hold the power to create a future that reflects our highest values: freedom, creativity, empathy, hope. The audience responded with growing applause, their spirits lifted by the call to collective responsibility. Keanu's eyes swept across the auditorium, steady and confident. So I ask everyone here tonight and those watching around the world, who do you want to decide the future? The people who tell you it's inevitable and beyond your influence, or the people who stand up, who choose to fight for a future that honors humanity? The applause swelled, filling the room with energy and determination. Keanu raised his hand, bringing the crowd's focus back. This isn't about fear, he said, voice ringing clear. It's about courage, the courage to question, to demand accountability, and to reclaim our power as creators of our own destiny. Turning back toward Elon, Keanu's tone softened, but remained firm. Elon, I respect your vision, your drive, your innovations, but I challenge you to remember that technology is not destiny. It is a reflection of who we are and who we want to become. The usual smirk that played on Elon's face was gone, replaced by a subtle tension around his jaw. The debate had evolved into something more profound. A philosophical dialogue about power, choice, and humanity's future. Keanu concluded, "The future belongs to those who refuse to be left behind, not because of what technology can do, but because of the choices we make." The room erupted in applause once more. Keanu sat back, a quiet smile of satisfaction crossing his lips. The energy in the auditorium was electric, a collective recognition that this moment was about something bigger than either man. The cameras captured every expression, every reaction. The world was watching, listening, and, more importantly, thinking. This wasn't just a debate. It was an invitation to reclaim the future together. The atmosphere in the auditorium shifted palpably as Elon Musk, after a long string of technical arguments and pointed jabs, decided to strike at Keanu Reeves' core authority on the subject of AI. With a steely gaze and deliberate precision, Elon leaned forward slightly, his voice calm but edged with a challenge. "Keanu," he said, "you've given a stirring defense of human creativity, emotion, and connection. But at the end of the day, what qualifies you to debate the future of artificial intelligence? You're a celebrated actor, a storyteller, yes, but you're not a scientist, a technologist, or an AI pioneer. How can you claim the expertise to stand here and discuss the complexities of a field that shapes our world's future?" The words hung heavily in the air. The audience, a sea of anticipation and tension, reacted in a mix of curiosity and uncertainty. Was this the moment where the charming icon of Hollywood would falter, where his poetic appeals would crumble under the cold weight of technical expertise and raw data? The challenge was clear. Elon sought to not just undermine Keanu's arguments, but to question his very legitimacy on this stage. Elon's tone was careful yet sharp, designed to plant doubt and remind the audience of the intellectual chasm that separated the worlds of cutting-edge technology and entertainment. His smirk hinted at a belief that the debate might be slipping beyond Keanu's reach, that this line of questioning could be his undoing. But Keanu's reaction was calm, almost serene. He did not flinch. Instead, he sat back slightly, adjusting the lapel of his blazer with deliberate ease, signaling confidence that transcended credentials. The spotlight was on him now, and millions watched, waiting to see how he would respond to this pointed challenge. The moment stretched, heavy with expectation. Then Keanu leaned forward slowly, meeting Elon's gaze steadily and speaking with a quiet authority that instantly commanded attention. "Elon," he said softly, "I may not have a background in coding, algorithms, or machine learning. I'm not a scientist, nor a researcher in AI. But I am human, and that, to me, is qualification enough." A ripple of surprise swept through the crowd. The simplicity and profundity of his statement cut through the technical jargon like a beacon of humanity. It reframed the entire conversation, turning it away from cold calculations to something far more personal and essential. "The small group did," Keanu continued, voice calm yet filled with depth. "Being human is about empathy, the ability to feel what others feel. It's about connection, the invisible threads that bind us, that allow us to share joy, pain, hope, and love. These qualities, these experiences, define us more than any code or computation ever could." His words resonated deeply with the audience, many of whom felt the truth in his appeal. They realized that this debate was about more than just AI and economics. It was about the essence of what makes us human. Keanu's expression softened as he elaborated, his voice steady and imbued with genuine conviction. "You see, Elon, technology can simulate patterns, replicate appearances, and even predict behaviors. But it cannot feel sorrow when a friend is lost. Nor can it understand the bittersweet joy of a sunset after a long day. AI can never grasp the unspoken language of a smile, the tremor in a voice that carries a lifetime of memories, or the unpredictable magic that makes a story truly move us." He paused to let his message settle, the silence underscoring the gravity of his words. The audience was captivated, hanging on every phrase as if hearing a deeply personal truth spoken aloud for the first time. "It's not perfection that touches hearts," Keanu continued, "but imperfection. The raw, flawed, beautiful reality of being human. Our creativity stems from our struggles, our dreams, our failures, and our hope. No algorithm, no matter how advanced, can replicate that soul." Around the room, faces reflected a spectrum of emotions, some nodding in agreement, others with tears glistening, moved by the authenticity of Keanu's appeal. His message transcended celebrity, connecting on a fundamental human level. Elon's posture shifted. The confident smirk that had accompanied him throughout the debate now wavered, revealing a flicker of doubt beneath the polished exterior. For the first time, his carefully constructed armor seemed porous. Keanu held the room with his steady gaze, voice lowering slightly to draw the audience even closer. "I may not write the code behind AI, but I live the consequences of how it's used. I understand what it means to tell a story that resonates across time and culture. And I believe that true art, the kind that changes lives, can never be reduced to zeros and ones." The crowd responded with a growing wave of applause, many rising to their feet, phones raised to capture the moment. The energy in the auditorium surged like a tidal wave, fueled by a shared recognition of the power and beauty of humanity that Keanu so eloquently championed. The contrast was stark. Elon, the master of technology and data, faced a man whose weapon was empathy, whose strength was connection, and whose victory was rooted in the timeless human spirit. Keanu's closing words carried a quiet, unshakable confidence. "So, Elon, you asked what qualifies me to speak on this topic. I tell you this: being human is qualification enough. It means understanding the fragility and resilience of life. It means cherishing creativity not just as entertainment, but as the heartbeat of culture. It means recognizing that technology, no matter how advanced, must serve humanity, not replace it." He scanned the audience, making eye contact with as many as possible, as if speaking directly to each person. "Technology is a tool, but humanity shapes its purpose. The future of AI isn't just a matter of logic and efficiency. It's a matter of values, ethics, and choices. The auditorium was enraptured. The applause erupted again, louder and more fervent than before, swelling into a standing ovation. The crowd's response was visceral, a collective embrace of the message that celebrated human spirit over cold mechanization. Elon Musk's face, once so confident, now bore the subtle signs of concession. His jaw tightened, his fingers tapping nervously on the armrest. The man who had once seemed untouchable now sat visibly unsettled, caught off guard by a force he hadn't anticipated, a force not born of data or algorithms, but of heart. Keanu settled back into his chair, the embodiment of calm and grace. The cameras captured every detail, the rising cheers, the charged atmosphere, and the undeniable shift in the room's energy. For the first time that evening, the balance of power had shifted decisively. This moment transcended the debate on AI. It was a testament to the enduring power of empathy, creativity, and connection, the qualities that no machine can replicate and no algorithm can replace. And in that truth, Keanu Reeves had emerged as the undeniable victor. The room was charged with electricity as the final moments of the debate unfolded. Keanu Reeves rose from his chair with an air of quiet determination, his eyes sweeping across the audience and the millions watching live around the world. The applause still echoed, but now all attention was focused on him. He was no longer just a participant in a debate. He had become the voice of a movement, a call for humanity to reclaim its future. Keanu's voice was steady, calm, yet carried an undeniable strength. "Tonight," he began, "we've witnessed a battle of ideas not just between two men, but between two visions of our future." His gaze met Elon Musk's for a brief moment, not with hostility, but with clear conviction. One vision is driven by machines, algorithms, and cold efficiency. The other is shaped by creativity, compassion, and the unpredictable beauty of human will. The auditorium fell silent, hanging on every word. Keanu's words resonated deeply because they spoke to something fundamental, a choice. "We stand at a crossroads," he continued, "where technology can either serve us or control us. It's not the machines that decide our destiny, but the people who choose how to use them." He paused, allowing the weight of his statement to settle over the crowd. The energy in the room was palpable, a shared understanding ignited among those present and millions more at home. "I ask each of you," Keanu said, voice rising with passion, "to stand for a future shaped by human creativity, freedom, and the will to make a difference. Not by flawless algorithms, but by hearts that beat, minds that imagine, and hands that build." The applause swelled once more, growing louder and more heartfelt. Keanu's message had transcended the debate itself, reaching into the core of what it meant to be human. This was a moment of awakening, a rallying cry for those who refuse to let the soul of humanity be drowned out by the relentless march of technology. Keanu stepped forward slightly, his demeanor both humble and resolute. "We cannot let convenience become a cage," he said, voice steady but filled with urgency. "We cannot allow the march of progress to silence the voices that bring us together, that tell our stories, that heal wounds and inspire hope." His eyes swept across the audience again, connecting with faces young and old, familiar and new. "This isn't a fight against innovation," he continued. "It's a fight for balance, for ensuring that as we embrace technology, we do not lose what makes us uniquely human." The laughter, the tears, the failures and triumphs, the messy, beautiful tapestry of life that no machine can replicate. The crowd's response was thunderous, a roar of approval that seemed to shake the very walls of the auditorium. Phones flashed as thousands captured the moment, while millions more streamed the event live, their comments flooding the digital space with support, hope, and renewed belief in the power of human creativity. Keanu's gaze softened as he acknowledged the significance of the moment. "Elon," he said, turning to his opponent with respect, "you've pushed boundaries and challenged us all to think bigger. But tonight, I ask you and everyone watching to remember this: technology must be a tool for humanity, not a replacement." His tone was firm, yet inclusive, inviting rather than divisive. The billionaire's expression was unreadable, a flicker of contemplation crossing his face as he absorbed the message. The dynamic had shifted. This was no longer a contest of ego or intellect, but a profound conversation about values and vision. Keanu raised a hand in a gesture of invitation. "To all of you," he said, addressing the audience directly, "this is your future to shape. Will you choose a world where people matter more than machines, where creativity, empathy, and freedom are at the center of progress? The choice is yours. It always has been." The crowd erupted again, voices joining in unison with the sentiment. The live chat exploded with messages affirming their support. The hashtag #FutureByHumans began trending worldwide. The room was alive with hope and purpose, unified in the belief that the future still belonged to the people. Keanu's closing words were clear and powerful, resonating far beyond the walls of the auditorium. "This isn't just about AI," he said, voice steady and unwavering. "It's about who we are and who we want to be. It's about the legacy we leave for the generations to come." He paused, letting the moment breathe before delivering the final call to action. If you believe in the power of human creativity, if you believe that the future should be decided by people, not machines, then stand with me. His eyes scanned the audience one last time, capturing the attention of every person watching. "Let your voice be heard. Fight for the freedom to create, to dream, to connect. Because this," he said, spreading his arms wide, "this is just the beginning." The applause surged to a crescendo, a wave of sound that echoed through the hall and across the world. The audience rose, many on their feet, united in a resounding affirmation of the vision Keanu had laid bare. Elon Musk sat back, the usual confident smirk replaced by a quiet reflection. The battle was over, not just in words, but in spirit and influence. Keanu Reeves had won. Not by overpowering with data or technology, but by reminding everyone of the indomitable strength of humanity. As the cameras pulled back and the event drew to a close, the message was clear. The future belonged to those who choose it, to those who believe that technology should empower, not replace, the human soul. And in that truth, Keanu Reeves had become more than an icon. He had become a beacon for a new era.